Getting started with tracking your transactions for your shop and not totally sure what you should be recording or afraid that you're going to miss something important? Let's chat about it. Hey there, I'm Janet LeBlanc from Paper and Spark, and I help makers and artists start and scale online shops so you can achieve your entrepreneurial dreams and hit your financial goals with ease. By the end of this video, you will feel more confident understanding how to do your books and keep track of your transactions for your e-commerce shop so you have the numbers you need at tax time and you can make smarter decisions as a business owner. Make sure to stick around and I'll share a coupon from my bookkeeping system designed especially to make doing your shop's books easier and less painful. If you're trying to DIY your bookkeeping system but you're not quite sure how, you may be wondering exactly what you should be keeping track of, or maybe you're even worried that you're going to miss something important, let's chat about the top 3 things you want to be tracking in your bookkeeping system. First, we've got your sales. This one seems obvious. You want to record your sales in your bookkeeping system. You should record every sale your business has, no matter what venue, no matter how you accepted payment, no matter what type of customer it was, an online sale, a craft show sale, Facebook sales, Instagram, sales to your neighbor, sales paid with cash, sales paid with check, PayPal invoice, Etsy, etc. It's helpful to record your sales by sales venue for your own purposes so that you can see which outlets or which type of customers are your most or least profitable, but you don't necessarily need to know that for tax purposes. You may or may not be able to separate sales by source depending on what bookkeeping system you're using. It's important to note that in most instances, recording total sales means your gross revenue, your gross sales. What does gross revenue mean? It means everything the customer paid you. So that should include the cost of the item, the retail price you sold it for, but also things like sales tax collected and the shipping that your customer paid you. Shipping received is revenue. All of those things are considered part of your total gross revenue. In accounting terms, gross generally means before subtracting out any expenses. So again, gross revenue are going to be your total sales before subtracting out things like refunds, processing fees, and any other expenses related to that platform. This is in contrast to your net sales. So you may receive your net deposits from Etsy each week, for instance. They deposit it in your bank account. You don't want to record your net deposits from Etsy in your books as your total sales because that number is not really your gross revenue. It's got fees already taken out of it. That makes it harder to match your 1099K that you may receive at year end because your 1099K from Etsy and from most other payment processors will be your gross revenue. You want your bookkeeping revenue to match those 1099Ks. So the important thing to remember when it comes to recording your sales is that you're recording your gross revenue, including sales tax you actually collected from your customer and shipping your customer paid you. The second most important thing to be recording are your expenses. It's vital that you record what you're spending your business money on each month in your book. These are called your business expenses, your tax deductions, your write-offs. We have lots of different names for it. For tax purposes, a business expense is generally any purchase that's considered ordinary and necessary in the course of running your shop. I have a whole other video on this that you can check out about what an ordinary and necessary expense means, but different bookkeeping systems have different ways of categorizing your business expenses. In general, I always suggest using categories that make sense for your type of business and how you want to keep track of things. Like you probably want to know, for instance, how much you've been spending on your Etsy fees versus your advertising fees versus your printing costs. You want to separate those things in different categories. Good expense tracking is essential to understand where the money you make is going and how you can take more control over your business profit. The third thing that you want to be tracking in your bookkeeping system, and something that a lot of online sellers forget, are your sales by state. So if you're in the US, this one is vital to record, but it's a bit tricky because it can be complicated. Not all bookkeeping systems, in fact, most bookkeeping systems aren't really set up to handle this properly for you either. So a bit of context for why it's important to track your sales by state, if it helps. If your products are subject to sales tax, which is governed by state departments of revenue, you should have your sales tax permit most likely in your own state and possibly in other states in which your business has a nexus in. When you do your state sales tax form or forms, you'll usually be asked to report your total in-state sales, your sales to customers within that particular state. If you're already tracking that total in your bookkeeping system, it means you can very quickly and easily pop that number into that sales tax form. If you're not tracking that information in your bookkeeping system, then you're going to be scrambling when it comes time to report on that form, because you're still going to have to figure it out in some way, shape, or form. So it's a lot easier if you're just tracking it as you go. There are other reasons we want to be tracking this too. If you're a higher volume seller, it's possible that you could hit the economic nexus threshold for other states besides just the state in which you live, and you have a physical nexus there. The only way you're going to know if you hit a particular state's economic nexus threshold is if you're keeping track of your sales volume by state in your bookkeeping system. You want to be tracking both your number of orders to each state and your sales dollars by each state, because there are different ways you can trigger economic nexus. And of course, to make things easy, the thresholds vary by state. If you're like, what the heck are you talking about? Then make sure you check out my resource library at paperandspark.com for more information on how sales tax works, especially when it comes to online sales and economic nexus. Suffice to say that if you are able to track your sales by state in whatever bookkeeping system you're using, you will make keeping up with your sales tax requirements way less of a headache. If you have questions about any of these, let me know in the comments. I also encourage you to subscribe to my channel so you can always stay up to date on bookkeeping and tax requirements for your online shop. If you're looking for an easy way to track all of these things automatically with step-by-step videos, written instructions, and guidance, especially for makers and physical product sellers, make sure you check out a Paper and Spark seller spreadsheet. They'll help with all these things. They even have sales by state trackers set up in them. They're really designed with e-commerce sellers in mind. Since debuting the Paper and Spark spreadsheets back in 2015, we've had tens of thousands of customers make the switch to Paper and Spark and hundreds of 5-star reviews. As a thanks for watching this video, you can opt in for a 10% off any spreadsheet coupon right here and shop for a spreadsheet at paperandspark.com/shop. Now that you hopefully have a better understanding of what to keep track of in your bookkeeping system, check out more about the easiest to use bookkeeping system made especially for shop owners in my next video, the no-brainer bookkeeping solution for e-commerce sellers.